are back with part 5 of this week's reading of the Messianic Jewish Family Bible Tree of Life version, TLV, and we were reading the introduction with Numbers and Numbers 1 through 12. We are now at chapter 8, and this is the beginning of Parashat Aloteka, and there is one section that is dedication of the Levites. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron and say to him, when you erect the lamps, the 7 lamps are to illuminate the area in the front of the menorah." Aaron did so. He erected the lamps facing forward, so they illuminated the area in front of the menorah, just as Adonai had commanded Moses. Now this is how the menorah was made: hammered gold from its base to its blossoms, just as the pattern that Adonai had shown to Moses, so he made the menorah. Again Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the Levites from among Bnei Israel and ceremonially cleanse them. This is what you must do to make them clean. Sprinkle the purifying water on them, then have them shave their whole bodies and wash their clothes, thus purifying them. Then they are to take a young bull with its grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, plus a second young bull for a sin offering. Bring the Levites before the tent of meeting and gather the whole community of Bnei Israel. Bring the Levites before Adonai. Bnei Israel will lay their hands on the Levites, and Aaron will present the Levites before Adonai as a wave offering before Bnei Israel. Then they may go about the work of the service of Adonai." So they were being dedicated to Adonai. The Levites are to lay their hands on the heads of the bulls. Use one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering to Adonai to make atonement for the Levites. Have the Levites stand before Aaron and his sons and present them as a wave offering to Adonai. In this way you are to set apart the Levites from Bnei Israel to be mine. After you have purified them and presented them as a wave offering, the Levites will come to do their work at the tent of meeting. For they are the ones from among Bnei Israel given to me in place of all the first from the wombs of Bnei Israel. I have taken them for myself. For every firstborn among Bnei Israel is mine, whether human or animal. On the day I struck down the firstborn of the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for myself. So I am taking the Levites in place of the firstborn of Bnei Israel, and I am giving the Levites as a gift to Aaron and his sons from among Bnei Israel to do the work on behalf of Bnei Israel in the tent of meeting, and to make atonement for them, so that there would be no plague among them for coming too close to the sanctuary. So Moses, Aaron, and the entire community of Bnei Israel did so with the Levites. All that Adonai had commanded Moses regarding the Levites, so Bnei Israel did to them. The Levites also purified themselves from sin and washed their clothes. Aaron presented them as a wave offering before Adonai, and he made atonement for them to purify them. After that, the Levites came to do their tasks before Aaron and his sons in the tent of meeting, just as Adonai had commanded Moses concerning the Levites. Adonai again spoke to Moses, saying, "This is for the Levites. Men 25 years old and upward are to present themselves for service to work in the tent of meeting. But at the age of 50 he is to retire from his service and work no longer. He may assist his brothers in the tent of meeting to do their duties, but he himself will no longer do the work. Thus you are to assign to the Levites their responsibilities." And there's a footnote, I can't talk here. Luke 2, verse 23. "As it is written in the Torah of Adonai, every firstborn male that opens the womb shall be called holy to Adonai." So that was also mentioned in the New Covenant. So we're going to move into chapter 9, second month Passover. Adonai spoke to Moses in the Sinai wilderness in the first month of the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt, saying, "Bnei Israel is to observe Passover as its appointed time. You are to celebrate it at its appointed time at twilight on the 14th day of this month, with all its rules and regulations." So Moses told Bnei Israel to observe Passover. They celebrated Passover at twilight on the 14th day of the first month in the Sinai wilderness in accordance with all that Adonai commanded Moses, so Benaiah Israel did. However, there were some men who could not celebrate Passover because of being defiled by a dead body. So they came to Moses and Aaron on that same day, and these men said to him, "We have become unclean because of a dead man's body. Why should we be kept from presenting the offering of Adonai at the appointed time with the rest of Benaiah Israel?" Moses answered them, "Wait, and I will inquire what Adonai commands concerning you." So he took it to the Lord, in other words. Then Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Say to Benaiah Israel, saying, if any man, whether you or your descendants, become unclean because of a dead body, or is away on a long journey, he may yet observe Adonai's Passover. They are to celebrate it at twilight on the 14th day of the second month. With matzah and bitter herbs they are to eat it. They are not to leave any of it until morning or break any bones. When they celebrate Passover, they are to observe all its regulations. But the person who is clean and not away on a journey, yet neglects to celebrate Passover, that soul shall be cut off from his people, because that person did not present Adonai's offering at the appointed time. That man will bear his sin. If an outsider living among you would celebrate Passover to Adonai according to the requirements, so he should do. There will be for you the same regulation for the outsider and the native of the land. The cloud as the guide is the next section of chapter 9. On the day the tabernacle was erected, the cloud covered the tabernacle. By evening until morning, the cloud above the tent of the testimony had an appearance like fire. It was that way continually. The cloud covered it, and by night it appeared like fire. Whenever the cloud lifted up from above the tent, then Benaiah Israel would set out, and at the place where the cloud settled, then Benaiah Israel would encamp. This was God's way of telling them to proceed, to move on, to travel on, and when to not travel, to stay settled. At the month of at the month bleh, At the mouth of Adonai, Benaiah Israel would set out, and at the mouth of Adonai they would encamp. All the days that the cloud remained over the tabernacle, they would remain in camp. When the cloud would remain over the tabernacle many days, Benaiah Israel would obey the command of Adonai and not set out. At times the cloud stayed over the tabernacle only a few days. At Adonai's word they would encamp, and at Adonai's word they would set out. At times the cloud remained only from the evening until morning. When the cloud would lift, they would set out. Whether by day or by night, when the cloud lifted, they would set out. Whether for 2 days, or a month, or a year, while the cloud remained over the tabernacle, Benaiah Israel remained camped and would not set out. But when it would lift, they would set out. At Adonai's word, they would encamp, and at the mouth of Adonai, they set out. They obeyed Adonai's order by Moses' hand. So that is chapter 9. Then we move to chapter 10, which has a couple segments here as well. The first one called Silver Trumpets for Assembly, and the second part is Journey from Sinai. So we're going to start with Silver Trumpets for Assembly. This is real important too. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Make 2 trumpets of hammered silver for yourself. They are for summoning the community and having the camp set out. Whenever both are sounded, the whole community is to gather towards you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. But if only one is sounded, the princes, the heads of the tribe of Israel, are to gather towards you." So they would know the difference of the sound of the trumpets. When you sound the trumpet the first time, the camp of those camped on the east is to set out. When you sound the trumpet blast the second time, the camp of those camped on the south is to set out. Short blasts will be the signal for their moving out. To gather the whole national community, you are to sound the sustained blast, but not the short blast. The sons of Aaron will blow the trumpets. This is to be an eternal ordinance for you, as well as for your generations to come. Whenever you go to war in your own land against the enemy who is hostile to you, you are to sound short blasts of alarm. Then you will be remembered before Adonai your God and be delivered from your enemies. Also, at your days of rejoicing, feasts, and new moons, you are to blow on the trumpets over your burnt offerings and your fellowship offerings. They will then be a reminder for you before Adonai your God. I am Adonai your God. Journey from Sinai. On the 20th day of the second month in the second year, the cloud lifted up from above the tabernacle of the testimony. Then Bani Israel set out on their travels in the Sinai wilderness. The cloud came to rest in the wilderness of Paran, Paran. So they set out the first time by the mouth of Adonai by Moses' hand. The standard of the camp of the sons of Judah set out first by their divisions. Over them was Nahshon, son of Amminadab. Over this division of the tribe of the sons of Issachar was Nathanael, son of Zuar. Over the division of the tribe of the sons of Zebulun was Eliab, son of Helon. Then the tabernacle was disassembled, and the sons of Gershon and Merari, who were carrying it, set out. The standards of the camp of Reuben then set out by their divisions. Over his divisions was Elazur, son of Shedeur. Shalumiel, son of Zurishaddai, was over the division of the tribe of the sons of Simeon. Over the division of the tribes of the sons of Gad was Eliasaph, son of Dul. And then the Kohathites set out carrying the holy items. The tabernacle was to be erected before their arrival. The standard of the camp of the sons of Ephraim set out next by their divisions. Over his divisions was Elishama, son of Ammihud. Over the division of the tribe of the sons of Manasseh was Gamaliel, son of Pedazur. Over the division of the tribe of the sons of Benjamin was Abidan, son of Gideoni. And then the standard of the camp of the tribe of the sons of Dan, being the rear guard of all the camps, set out by their divisions. Over the division was Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai, and Pagiel, son of Ochran, was over the division of the tribe of the sons of Asher. Ahira, son of Enan, was over the division of the tribe of the sons of Naphtali. This is the order by which Bani Israel, by their divisions, set out. Moses said to Hobab, son of Ruel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, "We are setting out to the place about which Adonai said, 'I will give it to you.' Come with us, and we will do good to you, because Adonai has spoken goodness to Israel." But he said to him, "I will not go, because I would rather go to my own country and to my own people." But he said, "Do not leave us now, because you know where we would camp in the wilderness. You can be like eyes to us. If you come with us, we will share with you whatever good Adonai gives to us." So they advanced them from the mountain of Adonai, a trip of 3 days, the ark of the covenant of Adonai going ahead of them for those 3 days to seek out a resting place for them. The cloud of Adonai was over them by day when they advanced from the camp. Whenever the ark would set out, Moses would say, "Arise, Adonai, may your enemies be scattered. May those who hate you flee from before you." Then whenever it came to rest, he would say, "Return, Adonai, to the myriad thousands of Israel." So that is chapter 10. So we're moving on to chapter 11. 70 elders to share the burden is the first part of chapter 11. The people were murmuring in the ears of Adonai about hardship, and when Adonai heard, his anger burned. The fire of Adonai blazed among them, ravaging the outskirts of the camp. The people cried out to Moses, so Moses prayed to Adonai, and the fire died out. The name of that place was thus called Taberah, because fire from Adonai had burned among them. The grumblers among them began to have cravings, so Bani Israel began to wail repeatedly, saying, "If we could just eat some meat. We remember the fish that we used to eat in Egypt for free, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now we have no appetite. We never see anything but this manna." Now the manna was similar to coriander seed and had an appearance like gum resin. The people went about, gathered it up, and ground it in hand mill or crushed it in a mortar. They cooked it in a pot or made it into cakes. It had a taste like something made with olive oil. When the dew descended on the camp at night, the manna descended with it. Moses heard the people wailing by their families, each man at the door to his tent. Adonai's anger became very hot, and Moses was troubled. So Moses asked Adonai, "Why have you brought trouble on your servant? Haven't I found favor in your eyes that you laid the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people, or did I give birth to them, that you should say to me, 'Carry them in your bosom, just as the nurse carries an infant, to the land you promised to their fathers'? Where can I get meat for all these people? For they wail to me, saying, 'Give us meat to eat.' I am not able to carry all these people by myself. The load is too heavy for me. If this is how you are treating me, kill me now. If I have found favor in your eyes, kill me, please. Don't let me see my own misery." Then Adonai said to Moses, "Bring me 70 of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be elders of the people and their leaders. Take them to the tent of meeting, so they may stand with you there. Then I will come down and speak with you there, and I will take some of the Ruach that is on you and will place it on them. They will carry with you the burden of the people, so you will not be carrying it alone." So he was going to take part of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit that was on Moses, and distribute it among the 70 elders. So to distribute the burden of the people. So it wasn't all on Moses' shoulders. Now to the people say, "Sanctify yourselves for tomorrow, because you will eat meat." For you wailed in Adonai's ears, saying, "If only we could eat meat. It was better for us in Egypt." Now Adonai will give you meat, and you will eat. You will eat, not for 1 day, or 2 days, or 5 days, or 10 days, or 20 days, but for an entire month, until it is coming out of your nostrils, and it becomes loathsome to you. For you rejected Adonai who is among you, and you wailed to his face, saying, "Why did we ever leave Egypt?" Moses then said, 600,000 foot soldiers, the people I am in the middle of, yet you say I am going to give them meat to eat for an entire month. If flocks and herds were slaughtered, would they have enough? Or if all the fish in the sea were caught, would they have enough? Adonai said to Moses, "Is Adonai's arm too short? Now you will see whether my word will come true for you or not." So the next section is 70 elders prophesying. So Moses went out and told the people Adonai's words. He gathered 70 of the elders of the people and had them stand around the tent. Adonai descended in the cloud and spoke with them. He took some of the Ruach that was on him and placed it on each of the 70 elders. It so happened that when the Ruach first rested on them, they prophesied, but never again. 2 men, however, had remained in the camp. The name of one was Eldad, and the name of the other was Medad. The Ruach rested on them. They were among those listed, but they had not gone out to the tent, so they prophesied in the camp. A young man ran and told Moses and said, "Edad and Medad are prophesying in the camp." Joshua, son of Nun, the assistant of Moses since his youth, cried out and said, "Moses, my Lord, stop them." But Moses said to him, "Are you jealous on my behalf? If only Adonai would make all the people prophets. If only Adonai would put the Spirit on all of them." Then Moses and the elders of Israel returned to the camp. And the last part of chapter 11 is called Quails from the Sea. Now a wind went out from Adonai and drove quails from the sea. He brought them into the camp to about a day's journey in any direction, about 2 cubits above the ground, all around the camp. The people went out all that night and all the following day and collected quail. No one gathered less than 10 omers. They spread them all they spread them out all around the camp. Yet while the meat was between their teeth before it was swallowed, Adonai's anger burned against the people. So Adonai struck the people with a severe plague. For the reason the name of that place was called Kibroth Hatava, because they buried the people who were craving. From Kibroth Hatava, the people journeyed to Hazeroth and stayed in Hazeroth. And I'm going to end this here and come back with the final chapter for this week, and then do a recap. And then we will do a closing prayer, an altar call, and the Aaronic benediction, or the Aaronic blessing.